Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike talking to you about Loyal Subjects Wave 2 Killer Mask remakes, and it's not surprising. It's not amazing. I'm just not excited because of price. We'll get into price and my expectation, but reality might set in and I might not order them. But they all look great. They're all there for really more or less the normies, but they're not even marketing it to the normies or marketing to the hardcore collectors. So there's a massive disconnect. So they're only marketing it to hardcore collectors that go out of their way in their spare time to source news, and yet they're not putting it in front of normies. It's really weird. It is. It doesn't make any sense. But are these vehicles going to sell? Probably. Are they good ones? They're great vehicles in the vintage line. I'm going to get into talking about this, discussing this, and then I'm going to talk about price point, my expectation, and then reality, because we don't know yet. I'm just going to talk about this coming up. So people are kind of upset about the fact that Wave 1's not out yet. We're hearing about Wave 2. That's not really too odd. They paid a ridiculous amount for the license, I'm sure, to Hasbro. So Hasbro could just wipe their hands of all this and have nothing to do with it and just collect some money. But the fact they want to capitalize on the license, make as much as they can. We've seen stuff like Playmates and Voltron stopping mid. They couldn't even make 5 figures in Voltron. Playmates literally made 3 of 5 figures and just canceled the entire line without finishing 5 figures. It's ridiculous. But with this, they're at least going to give us 8, and that's good. But part of the problem is the marketing. But we'll get into all of this. People are mad they don't have Wave 1 yet. And we're seeing pictures of Wave 2. But from a marketing standpoint for myself, they want to capitalize on their massive initial outlay. The news of Gator was first broke by Retro Toy Escapades on YouTube. And I like watching his videos. He's a good dude. And I don't know, I really actually don't know where he found the information out. Because I looked at everything in NYCC. I didn't see it or hear it. So it's really why the community matters. Because people pick up on stuff that others don't. And we just spread it out and just give each other credit. It's the way it goes. Right, so there's a lot to talk about here. And a lot to unpack. First of all, there's 4 vehicles. And I've even heard toy shark artist said there's 2 more going to be in this wave, which I don't know where that came from, but we're going to get the Jackhammer, Gator, Hurricane, or Night Stalker, and we're going to be getting the Piranha, but they're going to be getting renamed. All right, we'll talk about all of that. The thing about all of these, these are ones that a lot of kids, such as myself, had. In fact, Gator is really one of my favorites. I really love Gator. I would say Thunderhawk, Gator, and Rhino are in my top. For me personally, the first one of these mass vehicles I bought back in 2000, I think I bought it in 11, was the Jackhammer. And somebody had it for $5. And I was like, I'll take that. Thank you. And that got me started. That literally a $5 Jackhammer. And then I was like, well, I'd be willing to spend 10 each back in 2012. And I pretty much mostly completed a collection back then. But looking at this, it's kind of exciting. It's kind of fun. These are all ones that are going to get your member berries, your nostalgia going. And that's exactly what they want. And I've heard people say this isn't even their own work. They're just pictures of the vintage ones. And they're going to start working on these based on vintage pictures. Which, the truth is, that's probably a correct statement. I don't know for sure. But that's probably a correct statement that this is just pictures of vintage ones. Maybe from Hasbro's vault. Maybe they took them off some online site somewhere, and they don't have any knee joints or elbow joints, updated articulation. And would you be mad if they just said, hey, we're going to remake them. We're going to, from here on out, we're just going to make them exactly like Kenner? I don't know. I don't think I'd be upset about that. And the rolling into this lineup is Hurricane, Av, and Assus, and Gator. So the armored assault vehicle, I guess that has to be the Jackhammer. The stealth submarine cycle's got to be the Piranha. Here's where I'm at from this. I understand marketing, packaging, I understand all that. Licensing, to a point. I'm not an expert. But couldn't you say we're going to have Sly Piranha, and then put Sly Piranha on the sides, in the front, embed Sly in the top of the P of the Piranha, so it looks like the vintage thing, but you renamed it Sly Piranha. And then you get the license for Sly Piranha. Or Jackhammer. We could say, I don't know, Sly Jackhammer or Cliff Jackhammer. I mean, come up with something. I mean, make it retro. Not armored assault vehicle or stealth submarine cycle. I mean, come on, guys. You gotta do better than this. And this literally is why I canceled half my orders from them. I've still got a few things coming in. But this was just ridiculous. You can't fix this. Hasbro can't fix this. You can't come up with something. You can't pull something out of your rear. I mean, you don't have anybody that has a week of marketing experience, or, you know, took a marketing course, or clept it, or took a Dante's test. By the way, I clept and Dante's out of 5 courses. It's just what happens in college. The next thing I want to talk about is my expectation on price. They're not putting out a Rhino here. Not putting out $125. By the way, my expectation on Rhino was to be about $50 to $75. And $125 exceeded my expectations, broke my excitement. And then $90 for the helicopter, the Switchblade. Definitely. I've recently bought a Switchblade with a box for about that price. So, I mean, it's kind of like blowing my mind that it costs that much to manufacture. No, it doesn't. It probably costs them like $18. The rest is profit. Anyway, they haven't shown anything that is a higher price class than the Thunderhawk. So these should all be $60 or less. Piranha should be in the $30 price point, just like the Condor, which probably doesn't show up in my picture. Yep, I cut that off. But still, you know, we know Condor's a $30 item. So I'm expecting these to be in the $60 range. Probably because they'll make up some stuff and whatever, 80. I'd be in on these at 60. Based on their current pricing structure and how things are going and, you know, tariffs. By the way, I haven't really looked back at this stuff because, you know, I sort of stopped caring. For a while, I was like, let me just complete my vintage collection times 3, times 5, times 6, I don't know. But looking at this, I'm like, where's this limited to 4 per customer? That's a marketing tactic. And you use that standing room only kind of tactic right there. Like 4 per customer, you'll never get it again. This is PPTS. You use that when stuff ain't selling. When you have saddled yourself with an excessive amount of product that you're going to have to Super 7 clearance out, like they did with those $11 ones. You know, 55 to 11 on those Ultimates. All right, so the next issue is that they're marketing to literally... No, they're not marketing to hardcore collectors with normie products. See, when you're a normie, you're like, I want Thunderhawk. I just want... When you want Megatron and Optimus Prime. You want Duke and Cobra Commander and nothing else at all. You want Lion-O from the Thundercats only. You don't even want Mumra. The normies out there. And then they're not really marketing to the hardcore collectors that say they want this stuff. And I would venture to say we've got one of Series 2. They might even dive deeper into Series 2, which is the cheapest and easiest stuff to grab off of eBay right now. But I would say hardcore collectors say, hey, I want some of this. Even my viewers say, multitude of my viewers said, I want split seconds done. The problem is, and here's the problem, if you manufactured 100,000 of each of these, you'd only sell about 1,000 at most. 90,000 of these would go to clearance for like $5 at Ross and Ollie's. So they're not going to touch this. I know for a fact they cannot touch this because it won't sell. And even if they did, I would buy them up in droves myself. I'd buy like 3 full price, and then I'd buy like 12 on clearance because I absolutely love split seconds. It is beyond an obsession of mine. So, which is why I have 3 or 6 of each of these. So it's not a big deal for me, but I would still buy them new in the box like crazy because I love this split seconds idea. I like to clear figures. I love it. I think it's great. I've reviewed it on my channel. It's not, and this is the funny thing, I also know modern day collecting because of my videos, and this has the lowest viewership out of my videos. It's still got like 50,000 views or something like that, but it's one of the lower videos of my mass videos. Now, you know, I've got to talk a little bit more about this. Will they ever make a Boulder Kill? I don't think they ever will. I actually think Hasbro is so in love with HasLab that they would do that themselves on their own. I don't think I'd want a HasLab Boulder Hill. I mean, the reality is, what are you going to do different? How are you going to make it better? And it is what it is. And you can go get for $250. You can get a complete one. I mean, most of the ones that are $250 are missing the hose and all that kind of stuff. And I've got another like complete mask video coming in the future showing everything, because I was missing some parts and pieces when I made my first run of videos, and I was missing boxes. So I'm there, so I can do all of that in the future talking about this. But Boulder Hill itself, it's one of those things that I do believe loyal subjects will never make it. Hasbro probably will not, and if they did, it's a HasLab, and I'm kind of done with HasLab. Now, for those of you that are curious, since my channel has covered everything that has ever been produced for mask, I'm talking about Vortekch 2.0. I'm not really going to get into the Atom because I don't really feel like that's too far. That's too far of a stretch. This literally is a mask ripoff. And I remember picking these up in 1996 at KB saying, I'd buy all this if it was really mask. I know it's a mask ripoff. And I put it down. They were like $12 for the big ones and $6 for the small ones. And I wish I would have bought the whole set and just been done with it. Or 3 sets. So I can open one and, you know the whole thing. But with that, I don't think they'll touch Vortekch. I don't think anybody in the world will ever revisit Vortekch. Vortekch is its own anomaly that came and went. It was a failed venture of Hasbro, and they should have actually relaunched Mask in 1996, and they would have seen absolutely the same level of success they saw with the Star Wars Power of the Force 2. I guarantee it. So I guess this video was supposed to start out as about Wave 2, but there's so much more. When I see this, I think 4th dimension chess, a 3rd dimension chess, 3D chess, 4D chess. Anyhow, what do you think about all this? Are you going to buy these? Do you think the price point at 60 each is what they'll be? Or will they be some ridiculous nonsense like 85? I mean, it doesn't make sense if it's more than 60. But let me know in the comments below. Do you want split seconds? Do you agree with my points on normies versus hardcore collectors never getting split seconds? Like, subscribe. Pyderium, hanger out.